Welcome to another episode of The Read Pile. I think this is going to be a weird episode. There will probably be some kind of update, probably vaguely stated at the end of this, but let's talk about the major for a bit. So this is Moebius. This was put out a couple of weeks ago. I've read it this week. I almost feel like putting read in quotes because the story is kind of a story. It's at one point spoken of in terms of a non-story. I think we all know one person that wants to tell us about their dreams, and this feels like someone that had a series of drug trips and then wrote and drew those trips. Like, it is very odd. It's not really cohesive because it's a series of almost shorts of varying lengths. But it is a story that was told over the course of a decade, written and drawn, and it's, I guess, whatever he wanted to do at that time. I'm glad that I looked at it, and I don't know whether or not I'm keeping it. So, I don't know. I've looked at it, I've read it, and as I said, I have no idea. It's ultimately just very strange, and I don't know that I have room for something that is gorgeous to look at, but doesn't also lend itself, give me anything as far as story goes. And my wife and I were having a discussion, this is a few years ago. As I've said, she reads a bunch of manga, but also short stories and whatever. She reads a bunch as well. And we agreed, actually, that we can read a less good story that has great art, but we can't read a good story that doesn't have good art. So there's definitely like an art aspect. We both really enjoyed the Mob Psycho anime, and we tried to get into the manga, and the manga just does not... the art is, I don't think, up to snuff. So it's... We've had this book for a few years, and neither of us have read it. We've opened it a few times, and then we're like, I can't do it. It just looks childish. So I don't know. I'm not calling the major childish. I'm just saying there's a balancing act, right? And I'm at a point where I think I need the art and story to be on par, whereas this is not, and it's breaking my brain a bit because I don't know how much space really I want to dedicate. And this is only one book, but it's not just one book, because I've got a couple of Topi books, and I loved these. They're in a similar boat where the art is great and the story is maybe there, and I would honestly like some more of the Topi books, and I've been resisting that urge for a while just because I don't know. I haven't decided what I want to do with stuff like this, where the art is dramatically better than the story, and I haven't figured it out. So, I think whatever I wind up deciding about the major might also affect some other books as well, and I don't know. If you have... I do recommend reading it. So if it's at your local library, then borrow it from there. I don't know that you need to buy it unless you're some kind of Moebius superfan. I don't know. It's strange. There is a lot of talk about Airtight Garage, and there's a list of his other works here at the back. It looks like it was last published by Marvel in the 80s, which I'm surprised by some of this stuff being out of print for so long. I did have a copy of The Eyes of the Cat, and I let that go. This is a year or two ago. I think it was probably around the time I was starting this video series. But I have no idea what to do with things like this. So I mentioned at the start of this an update as far as the video series goes, and I think I'm taking a break for a while. I told Dan that I was probably going to stop doing videos, and I haven't really given him much of an update on that, but my mind has continued to change opinions on that. In short, I did a ton of reading and doing videos, as I've said a few times now. The 4th of July weekend, there's still about 6 of these that are currently scheduled, and I don't know what order. Hopefully this one can get ahead of some of those. But there are still videos scheduled, but because I did so much reading, I've made so much progress. The stated goal of this has always been to read what's in this room, make decisions about whether or not to keep them or not, and doing videos, it complicates it. It drags it out, makes things more time consuming because I read it and then I don't always have time to immediately film, and so I'm just like, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say and then waiting for an opportunity to say it, and I don't want to read too much more before I forget, and like it just slows the whole process down. And I think for a little bit I just want to focus on reading, making additional progress on decisions about what to keep and what to let go, and not do videos for a little bit. I don't know how long I'll be able to stick to that, though, because I do have opinions that I want to express, and the other thing is I always want to promote things I enjoy. So, like, if I like it, I'm going to want to talk about it. If I don't like it, you'll never hear about it. But these may not be weekly anymore, is ultimately what I'm saying. It will probably continue in some form, possibly a new format. I don't know. Those decisions haven't been made yet. But as far as my opinions go, they will continue to leak out. But yeah, I think the best recommendation I have is to borrow the major from a library. If you want to own it, check out your local comic shop. I will broadly recommend the Toby books as well. I think, this is Archaia. Archaia has been putting out a ton of these over the last, I'll say, 5, possibly more than 5 years, but there are several of these. I do recommend checking these out as well. And I'll see you before too long.